Hi guys, Ray here from City Fan TV, and well, my lucky shirt wasn't so lucky today. Wasn't so lucky at all, guys. City been beaten by 1 goal to nil at Arsenal. That's the first time in 5 years, 5 years that we've lost back-to-back league games. In fact, it's a terrible run. Lost three of 4 games. The last 4 games we played, we've lost 3 of them. One, we lost to Newcastle in the Carabao Cup. We lost to Wolves. We weren't good enough against Wolves. We weren't good enough against Newcastle. We weren't, we I think we're a bit lucky against Leipzig because they give us too much respect, too much deference. And we weren't good enough today against Arsenal. MCFC guy, yeah, he's gutted. Somebody said Haaland. I mean, look, the Haaland's defenders will turn around and say, as in the City fans who look at it live through blue tinted specs and say he got no service. He had no service. Okay, and it's true. We were dreadful. Really, we didn't really provide him with much, but he didn't do much himself. Trouble winner say Haaland bobbins again. I said it. I said I've been disappointed with him this season, even though he scored 8 goals in 8 games. Disappointed. Never seen City were poor. City, it was a dreadful game, says Chris, and City not seen City as bad. Look, today we didn't really try. We didn't want it. We didn't go for it in an attacking way. We didn't try until we were losing. Were we happy just to take a 0-0? Is that what it's come to? You go to Arsenal and you're happy with the 0-0? Or were we just expecting it to happen? Hey, we're Manchester City. We can turn up and it just happens. It doesn't work like that. I've always said you've got to put so much into a game. You've got to want it more than the opposition for your quality to shine through. And we didn't. We didn't. As far as I'm concerned, it looked like we were happy with the 0-0 or happy to try and nick a goal somewhere along the line. Weren't good enough. We didn't try hard enough. It was a good side. Don't get me wrong. It was a good side that we put out. Yes, some people wanted Doku to start, but we put out a decent side. But what was going on? What was going on? I've said it and I'll say it again. We are quite frankly and quite often boring to watch. I've said that for a while now, and it's not just a few games. It's last season. When you're not playing well, we are boring to watch. Arsenal defended well. You got to give them credit, but we are boring. We didn't really do anything in that game. So the Kovacic, what was he doing? What was he playing at? Unbelievable from Kovacic. I've been singing his praises all season, saying he's been, one of the first names on the team sheet. He's played really well. He played really well until he got injured, and then he come back against Wolves, and he was bobbins against Wolves, and he was bobbins today. There's no harm saying that. Do I back him? Absolutely, I still back him. But I'm allowed to say he's bobbins. He were bobbins today. Haaland was bobbins today. Name me any good player. Name me anybody who had a great game. And you see how much we miss Rodri. KDB, yes, we miss him, but you see how much we miss Rodri. Unbelievable performance today. Disappointed? Too blooming right. I'm absolutely gutted, Well, Fagri, look, okay. I told I think one of my lads, I told him, one of my lads has dropped Haaland from his fantasy football team on my advice. Dropped him. The other one has captained Watkins. Simply because Haaland's not doing anything. He's not scored in Europe for 5 games. He's not scored in the league for a few games. But this is the price you pay. This is the price you pay if Haaland's not doing anything. If we're having a poor game, Haaland's not going to get any service. He's not getting any service. So what can he do? He's not He's not Lionel Messi that you can just give him the ball and he'll run and take people on. He'll do the business. He ain't good enough to do that. Linny, MCFC, that was one of the worst games I've seen for years. I'm glad you're saying that because, I was thinking, do I come out and say it was a really poor game? I put the headline, dreadful game. I think I was being polite. I wanted to use some bad language because it was an awful game. Boring, awful game of football to watch. And I'm glad I'm not the only one who thinks so. Treble Winner says Kovacic was lucky to say absolutely. I mean, on another day, another ref, he's a goner. And then we're struggling again. Well, we lost anyway. It doesn't matter. Alpha says that was a shocking game. Both teams, I would buy Paqueta in January. That midfield just isn't right. I wouldn't buy Paqueta. I don't want to buy Paqueta because I think if the stories about him are true, about the spot fixing, then he has to go to jail. He has to go to jail. I can't believe he won't go to jail unless you're. I'm going to say this. Unless you're Matt Letizia, you avoid going to jail for spot fixing. If Paqueta's guilty of passing on information, he's got to go to jail. Has to. So I don't want Paqueta. I want Rodri back. That's my starting point. And by January, KDB will be back. But you can't rely on just these two players. The rest of the team have got to step up. And they didn't step up. He didn't step up. Alpha, I'm not saying we would have won those two games against Wolves and against Arsenal with Rodri playing, but Bayek, I don't think we'd have lost both of them. I really don't think we'd have lost both of them. What a difference Rodri makes. What a difference. JPB says it's early days and the team is betting in with the new players. No need to be gutted. We will gel and come good later in the season when it matters most. True. I'm not going to deny that we are usually a late on in the season kind of team. But, and here's the but, Arsenal don't go around beating Manchester City. They haven't beaten us for 8 years. 2015 was the last time they beat us. Oliver Giroud was playing for Arsenal that day. I think he scored the winner. Oliver Giroud is now playing as a goalkeeper in Italy. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go and see Oliver Giroud winning goal for his team, and he made a good save. Made a good save. But it is early days. But here's the thing. Arsenal beat us. Arsenal don't beat us. Okay? Yeah. And yes, it's all very tight and we're still within touching distance, but we've just gone and lost 2 games. We've just gone and lost 2 games, and that's just doesn't happen. It shouldn't happen. Abdurrahman said Roddy should be fine for extra 4 weeks. Bernardo in that midfield was a joke. Haaland, my days, weren't great, was it? MCFC guy says Haaland. It's true. Haaland does nothing except score goals. When he's scoring goals, he's brilliant. When he's not scoring goals, he's bobbins. Not a single player had a decent game. What about Rico? I thought Rico Lewis, especially in the first half, was pretty decent. Pretty decent, Rico Lewis. I thought he had a decent game. Get out of it, Mr. Zach. Get out of it. Not having this. Kamal, hope you're well. We played for a draw. Absolutely. We didn't put enough effort. We didn't have enough can't even say the word dynamism. Yeah. We didn't go for it. And it's disappointing. We're basically playing 10 versus 11 with Haaland. I agree. But what do? Do you go back to a false 9? That worked really well. I don't know what the answer is. No, yeah, absolutely no withdrawal game, which we just absolutely come out. That's a good point. There's a time that was in the first half where you looked at it and it was like basically very, very narrow, very narrow. Big Morgan, sloppy and boring match. Absolutely sloppy. Umar Abdurrahman, terrible quality game. Each team should not be paid their full wages. Yeah, it were poor, boys. It were poor. Boys and girls, not just boys. MCFC guy says we didn't really try today. Oliver the crooked ref says Big Morgan. Come on, buddy. We were lucky that Kovacic didn't get his marching orders. On one hand, you can complain about the ref, but I just think we were lucky that we finished with 11 on the pitch. So yeah, maybe gutted is an overstatement because it's early in the season, and yes, the knives will be out. There'll be a few people on social media having a pop at Pep, having a pop at Haaland, no doubt. Your Grealish, the player who came off the best today was Grealish because he didn't play. He didn't play at all. So, he now has got this status where he was better than he really was. It's like if you're into your cricket when, was it Broad and Anderson didn't go on a tour, was it to the West Indies or whatever? And because they weren't there and England were poor. And they said it was great not to have gone because the pitches weren't great for them to bowl on. And they don't want to be part of that, working hard and losing. By not playing, you're actually elevating your status. And that's what Grealish. Grealish is now suddenly better than he was. Whoa. Healthy Tips has gone in 2-footed. Load of clients without desire. It just wasn't there, was it? Alpha says, Nunes actually showed some good glimpses when he came on. I liked his performance, but at the end of the day, you're taking Mahrez, Gundogan, De Bruyne out of the team. Then, of course, you lost Mahrez, Gundogan, KDB, and Rodri. Very hard. But I turn it around and say, look, we had Walker there. Diaz was bobbins with his passes. He's not the man, trying to pass out from defence. Not from defence, but when he's 2/3 of the way down the pitch and he's trying to pass the ball over the top. Rubbish, man, rubbish. So we had Edison, Walker, Diaz, Ake, Foden, Alvarez, Bernardo Silva, Haaland, 8 there. And Rico Lewis played a lot of games last season. We had enough decent players there. But we didn't show. We really didn't turn up today. And that is the most disappointing thing. I'll say this, I hate this when we're just standing there. Edison standing there with the ball under his foot, not doing anything. The defenders are just standing there, not doing anything, waiting for Arsenal to come onto him. It looked all day long that we were just happy with a 0-0. If we nick a goal, nick the win, hey, that's brilliant. But it's not what I want. I say again and again and again, if we go for it, if we go for teams, we will beat nearly everybody. We will create loads of chances, load of good chances. Just go for it. Don't just keep tippy-tappy, pippy-pappy, passing it around. Go for it, please. Show us some exciting football. Arsenal that first half, they were jittery, they were nervous. Look at Raya, flapping at the balls. His passing was short passing was atrocious. We had opportunities that Alvarez nearly scored a goal from a ricochet. So Arsenal had nerves. They were jittery. They were misplacing passes. But what did we do about it? We misplaced passes back. I don't know what to say, guys. Let's go through some of your comments. Sean, I actually admit that Haaland is very reliant on Kevin De Bruyne. Wow. Well, but Haaland scored 8 goals. He scored it in about 5 games or 6 games. Now it's 18-8. But he got lucky. He got lucky because, there were some soft goals. A penalty. I said, strip the penalties away. That makes a difference. Some tap-ins, but you got to be there. Alvarez was terrible, says Omar Abdul Rahman. Energy wasn't there. Why not? Why shouldn't it have been there? We played on Wednesday. We played on Sunday. We got enough time. Omar Abdul Rahman says, no energy, definitely. Faris, hey, Faris, how you doing, mate? How you doing? It's bad circumstances to reacquaint myself with you. I'm all right. I was been ill for a few days. I was just starting to feel better, and then Arsenal scored. Dreadful goal to concede as well. Foden didn't track his man. Walker, it's hard to blame Walker because he had 2 men, but it's that man again, Kai Havertz, with a nod down. But Foden should have tracked him. Who's this? Zando Zolo. Haaland didn't play today. Was he injured? Oh, wait. Yeah, as I said, I've been really busy. I was in Northern Ireland and Ireland for how long was I there? 15, 16 days. I went on a Thursday, came back 2 weeks and on Friday later. So, yeah, 16 days. And I did about 3,000 miles in 2 weeks. Wow. I worked out, I was driving about 5 hours on average every single day working. So that was hard. And at the end, I was just wasted. Really was. I mean, there were days where I would just come back from work and go to sleep anyway. Let's get back to some footy. Yeah, Faris, we're a one-man team. Everybody's, if Haaland doesn't score, what happens? Nothing. And everybody's looking for Haaland. Sean says Walker and Vardiol were the only good players. Rico Lewis, didn't he play all right? I thought he did all right. MCFC says Alvarez was okay. Mrs. City then scores for them. Ake. I thought, who's that? Ake. Oh, come on. Are you going to blame Ake? You can't blame him for the own goal. I mean, I don't blame him. Not even 1%. It's one of those unlucky things that can happen. I blame the fact that Partey had he had time to make his pass. I blame the fact that Kai Havertz was afforded the space and the opportunity to run through and head it down easily, without pressure. Well, look, I've got to be honest, Horace, I do like Foden. I do like him, but I've criticised him today because he should have been there. He should not have let Kai Havertz run on his own. If Foden's there, Havertz doesn't get a good enough header there. Yes, it was lucky that Martinelli's shot hit Ake on the head and it went in. That was lucky, but I don't think Havertz gets a good contact if Foden chases him and presses him. Franklin says Haaland depends too much on the team. He needs to be more involved. Easy to mark him out of the game. Yeah, look, there's been a few games, he's either not been involved, you've not seen him, or when he's had opportunities, he's fluffed them. And I said last season as well, and it got to a stage where I said to Bernard especially that I think Haaland has lost confidence the way he was playing. He's playing with snatching at stuff, playing like a player without confidence, and he needs to get it back. Bernard criticised him last season for his last 7 or 8 games, not scoring many goals, 1 goal in 7 games. And I think he's lost his confidence now. It sounds weird because he's got 8 goals in 8 games, but you need to keep hitting that. You need to keep hitting the target, scoring goals. But it's disappointing, really was. Sean says Lewis was all right, but he gets pushed off the ball too easily. Yeah, he's a young lad. I've got no criticisms of Lewis because look at how many senior players we had. Look at all the back 5, apart from Guardiola, they've all been here for years. Walker's been here, 6 years? Edison's been here 6 years. Ruben Diaz, 4 years. Ake, 3 years. They've all been here plenty. They've been here a long time. Bernardo's been here 6 years as well, I think. Foden, we've got the players. It's just so disappointing. Foden doesn't really do enough. He didn't do enough today. I'll give you that. We've lost both. That's true. Actually, all 3. But Rodri wouldn't have played against Newcastle, but we lost all games. But so do we depend on Rodri? When he's not there, we look at a totally different team. But are we depending on Haaland? Are we depending on KDB? I don't know. KDB's not played this season apart from the first game. So we're not depending on KDB. We can play without him. But missing Rodri, 3 games is pretty poor. I bet Pep wishes he had bought Declan Rice now or gone a bit deeper for Declan Rice. Yeah, embarrassing to lose to lose all 3 games that Rodri is missed out on. Yeah, I totally agree. Nobody, excuse me, nobody really showed up today. There'll be some players that will give decent numbers to, but nobody really showed up when it mattered. We needed some big-time players. Yes, I accept we've lost Gundogan. We've lost Mahrez. KDB's out injured. I accept that, and Rodri's not there. But we've got to be... Gundogan's not there. We've got to be better than this. We've got to be massively disappointing. Bernardo was good today, says MCFC guy. I don't... No one's going to be brilliant. I'm Guardiola. Ake cost us 6 points from multinational. Nah, I'm not going along with that. I'm not going along with that. I don't throw players under the bus just like that. Uh, don't know who starts sending me messages. We always lose concentration. I said, look, we weren't trying. It got towards the end of the game, and Arsenal seemed the ones who were going for it. They seemed more determined to get something out of this game. I'm not going to criticize them. They didn't play particularly well, in my opinion, but Arsenal did what Arsenal needed to do. And what City should have been trying to do is, by whatever means, you get those 3 points. Now, Arsenal and Spurs unbeaten. Okay, we're not far away. It's not as if we're miles off the top of the table, because obviously we're just behind Arsenal. It's early in the season. There's longer to go, but we missed an opportunity. We've missed an opportunity in the last 2 weeks, and that's disappointing. After winning our first 6 games, okay, we are now 1 point ahead of Liverpool, 2 points ahead of Villa, 2 points ahead of Brighton, 2 points behind Arsenal, and 2 points behind Spurs. That's disappointing. Our goal difference, same as everybody else now. It's Tottenham's is plus 10, Arsenal's is plus 10, ours is plus 11, Liverpool is plus 9. So we're right up there. We're in the mix, and yes, we do come good. We come strong late in the season, but I don't want to be in the mix. If we beat, look, we couldn't lose 2 games. If we'd beaten Wolves and lost to Arsenal, okay, we'd be top of the table. We'd be top of the table, and 4 points clear of Liverpool. If we'd beaten Arsenal today, we'd have been 4 points clear of Liverpool and Arsenal. I mean, it's a huge turnaround. We've got to get it out of our system. Got to get it out of our system. Got to accept that, hopefully now we've got some easy games coming up. Yeah, easy games. Home to Brighton. The way Brighton played against Liverpool, if they cut out the mistakes, that's going to be a tough game for City now. These were some of the easier games. The Wolves one was an easy game. We should have been getting 3 points. Then we go away to Young Boys. Then we play it's the Manchester Derby at the end of the month. That's going to be a tough game. Okay. Then maybe we get a few easy games. We got Bournemouth at home, home to Young Boys, away to Chelsea in November, home to Liverpool, then at home to Leipzig. So that's, and then a home to Spurs, away to Villa. It's tough. And it's a shame that we've given so much away. Hossam Hassan says, after a treble season, no teams in history come back great the next season. Yeah, but I'm not expecting this fall off. Fagri says, where's the arrogance of last season? It's very timid. Yeah, as I said, we didn't want it enough. And that's really disappointing. Hossam says, we are lucky that all this is happening early in the season. True. And KDB will be back. But I still don't expect us to buy in January unless we get injuries. Come on, Kiers. I'll read your message out. Go on. Fagri, Arsenal will break the record for the most deflected goals in a season. Oh, I hate that. They were sinking 1-0 to the Arsenal at the end of that game. It's normal human psychology, says Hassan. I agree, but this is our chance. This is our chance to create incredible history. We were dreaming after 6 games that we could create incredible history. No team has won 4 on the bounce. They would all have to bow down to us if we could win 4 on the bounce. If we'd won the Champions League back-to-back, they'd have to bow down to us. If we could done the incredible thing and get the incredible treble, and do it back-to-back, this team would go down as the best in history. And they've dropped off. They've dropped off big time. Franklin says Pep caters to Haaland too much. Needs to drop him if he's ghosting like he has been. Well, it's not just ghosting. Okay, here's my thing. If he's not getting service, then that's one thing. Okay, last couple of games, he's not had a lot of service. But if he's having great chances and he's missing, that's a problem. And that's a problem right now. If you're not in form, as I said to Patrick, Drop Haaland, that solves your problems. You got space then for Doku to start. Now the people who love Grealish, even though when he plays poorly, I don't hate Grealish. Please don't think I've got an agenda. They were saying we needed Grealish for that game. If we'd won, they'd have night to say. But because we've lost, people were saying we needed Grealish for his control. Well, we had enough control in that game. We just did nothing with that possession. We have Spurs and Liverpool coming up with drop points in one of those most likely. Says Sean, yeah, 2 tough games. We play like that, we'll be dropping points, definitely. Hossam says you can't be hungry when you just ate all you can eat meal. Hey, trust me, Hossam, trust me, okay? When I've eaten anything as much as I can keep eating. No worries about that. Oh, behave, kids. Arsenal's best place was Oliver. I'm not bothered about, honestly, I'm not going to bother about the ref. We did nothing to deserve to win. Excuse me. And I just think it's the wrong approach to be concerned about, to blame the ref. We weren't good enough. Captain obvious here, but worth mentioning, Rodri missed 3 games, lost all 3 games. Absolutely, Alpha. I think Faris mentioned that earlier on. Terrible that. At times, we are relying on one person. So we're relying on Rodri. When Rodri's playing, we're relying on Haaland. That's not good enough. I like the idea when we had the false 9 because everybody was contributing. And now, nothing. At midfield, there's a lot going on, Hossam. The midfield is not delivering, okay? But I said earlier on, I'll say it again. Haaland's not getting much service, okay? So you can't blame him when he's not getting much service. What do you want him to do? But in recent games, he's got the service and he's ballsed it up. That's what I've criticised him for. I don't criticise him for not scoring because no one's creating and passing to him. I criticised him for not scoring when he's had the chances. Today was a tough game for him. Absolutely no creation. We're not creating enough chances. Absolutely, Stephen. And that's the problem. Haaland, we've seen it. He needs loads of chances. He needs loads of chances at times. 3 or 4 chances to score. And we're not creating them. And it's very difficult. So I absolutely agree. Look, but we are where we are. There's nothing we can do about it. Gundogan's gone. KDB's out till December, January. And Rodri's suspended. So other players have to step up. And that's what I'm unhappy about. Other players have not stepped up. It's true. Any team will suffer. I totally agree with you, mate. Any team will suffer you losing those players. But other players have to step up. Okay. Kovacic, he looked good in the first 7 or 8 games of the season. He was crap today. He was lucky to be on that pitch. He was very, very lucky to stay on that pitch. Okay. But he was poor. Nunez, okay, he looked better than Kovacic, but that wasn't too difficult. But there's that spark missing. And it is like a lot of things have hit us at once. The Rodri suspension, the KDB injury. And it just feels like the players have got a heavy weight on their shoulders and they have to get over these losses. We have to get over them because I don't want to go back to the bad old days where we were losing every week. Hossam is gutted, but we have to. We have no choice. One, we're too good a team to let this affect us for too long. We're too good a team. But you cannot keep, I've said this before, you cannot keep giving teams a head start and expect to every single time catch up. Hossam says Kovacic was good alongside Rodri. Yeah, I agree. I agree because Rodri was the business and that allowed Kovacic the freedom. Now we've tried Kovacic in that position. He can't do it. Franklin says, since Haaland's not dynamic enough, opposition defenses have worked him out and where he wants to be. Even defenses that aren't world class easily predict where he wants the ball. It's a concern. You look at the stats and say 8 goals, 8 games, fantastic. But end of last season, it was 1 in 7 or 8. This season, he's had several games where he's not, he's had that hat trick against Fulham and a couple of goals somewhere else. Was it early in the season? Has masked the rest of the season. Whoa. Do I think Foden has stepped up to replace KDB? No, he hasn't. I agree with you. He had a one cracking game. Was that in Newcastle? He had a cracking game. One and probably another decent game. Apart from that, he's not shone. He's not shone. Which, okay, this is my knee-jerk reaction moment. There are times when you look at him playing and you think, you're going to struggle to get into the side, mate. When KDB's back, if Doku was on fire, Bernardo's playing well, where does Foden fit in? Alvarez is there. Haaland's never going to be dropped. Okay? Haaland's never going to be dropped. To be honest, okay, once Alvarez is off the pitch, then I think it's hard to take Haaland off. But why couldn't we have taken Haaland off and pushed Alvarez up top? Why couldn't we have done that? Try something different, because we were doing the same thing again and again and again, and it wasn't working. So why can't we try something different? Why couldn't we have taken Haaland off, give him a kick up the backside, and put Alvarez on up front? Surrounded him with the normal guys. And try something different. And Doku is still miles off from where we want him. Oh, Hossam, got a long way to go. He's had a good start, but you've got to be consistent. And you've got, but I saw him today. There's one time he had 3 men around him. What do you want him to do? If you've got 2 or 3 men around you, you should have other players busting a gut to move and create space for themselves, because there has to be space. If Doku's got 2 or 3 men around him, there has to be space elsewhere. Nah. Can't blame Haaland. I've seen lots of hatred. I can't blame Haaland for today, Alec. I'm not blaming him. He's got no service. I've just gone on previous games when he hasn't been good enough. Hi, Andy. Poor run of form with solid movement and creativity for so many players, including Haaland and Foden. There's night from those two. Absolutely a long way to go. But we are 20% into the season. It's similar to the Wolves game. Stones is back. And I think that, look, it's a boost to have. Hopefully, if no one else gets injured during the international break, we'll have everybody available. Everybody apart from KDB. And that's a big boost. Stones needs games. Well, he's got the England games. If he gets some, hopefully he'll get a reasonable amount of game time for England, and that will get him up to match fitness. Stephen says, I think we need to move the ball a lot quicker. Totally agree, mate. Excuse me. Earlier in the season and last season, I said, we look exciting. We are more dangerous when we move that ball quickly. When we're passing it around slowly, slowing the game down, we're giving opposition defenses the opportunity to regroup and get into shape. When you're moving that ball really quickly, players are turning around. They get less time to think about what's going on. They get less time to position themselves. They get less time to see who's making the runs. Okay. And that's where mistakes are made. We're looking for those errors from the opposition when we're passing the ball slowly. No. Okay. Because that's giving them time to prepare and to as I said, get set. I'll set themselves up, move it around quickly, and mistakes will happen, and they'll happen a lot more often and a lot more quickly. Andy says seeing Stones was the highlight of the game. Alex says Kovacic was looking to absolutely. He could have been off on another day. Now we need to beat Brighton convincingly. I don't back convincingly, mate. I just want to win. Just want to win. And that's a tough game because Brighton are going to come to beat us. They're not coming to get a draw or anything, come to win. Rico Lewis is also coming on nicely, and that goal was disallowed, was unlucky as he should have played. I think it's hard to play advantage because he went down and then he handled it as well. So if you play advantage, then you've got to cut some of the advantage because of the handball. and then he scores. So you can't win. That game was for the taking, just a bad day. 3 bad days in 4, mate. It's not good. The pressure will now be on Arsenal's as league leaders. Let's see how they handle it. Pressure's on Spurs and Arsenal. I don't think either. I think it's going to be between. I thought before today between Arsenal, Spurs, City, and Liverpool. I don't think I've changed my mind. Others are close, Villa and Brighton, but I'm not so sure that they can get into it. Look, Brighton just made mistakes today. I mean, they should have beat Liverpool for me. They make a lot of mistakes. Absolutely, but so do we. And Brighton are that sort of side that can capitalise. Buxton hasn't seen you for ages, mate. Midfield falling off a cliff, absolutely. But we had none of our regular midfield, and no one stepped up, and that's the problem. It's one thing not to have players, but nobody stepped up, and that's the worry. I've said it before. I said it last season and the season before. When you change a lot of players, this is the way I said it. A not so good player playing with 10 cracking players can get by, can look all right. But once you change too many of those players, okay, then they end up being not so, what they are, not as good or not so good. So, for instance, we've seen, I think Hossam mentioned it, Kovacic, when he was playing alongside Rodri, looked very good, very comfortable, very confident, very composed, enjoyable to watch. Okay. Playing alongside Rico Lewis, different kind of player. Kovacic was bobbins. Somebody else could go and play alongside Gundogan and KDB and look decent. Okay. So Rodri, KDB, and pick whoever you want. Sergio Gomez. He'd look all right with those two guys around him. But put Sergio Gomez there on his Todd or with Rodri and Calvin Phillips, he certainly won't look all right. And another nail in the collar for Calvin Phillips because he's got no future at City. I said this, I've been saying it for a while. You know, they wanted him gone. He wouldn't leave and we'll sort it out. Oh, yeah, look, they had their luck today. And we'll bounce back. As I said before, we have to. We have a really hard run of games now. I liked that earlier. Could not believe the next 10 p.m. Yeah, looked at it. Yeah, look, and that's the frustration. That's the frustration about losing to Wolves last week. Losing to Arsenal shouldn't really be. There should be no shame in that if you put everything on the line. And I don't think we did. But there should be no shame in losing to Arsenal. The Wolves one was the one we shouldn't have lost. In fact, we should have won, and that was the problem for me. No Rodri, KDB, absolutely. Players given a chance to make a mark after Rodri, I just haven't taken the chance. Absolutely, as the guys have said a few times, Rodri's out for 3 games, 3 defeats. Not by much, not by much, or by 1 goal, but 3 defeats. And look at our goals. You know, we scored 1 against, we scored night tonight. Forget the Leipzig because Rodri was there. We scored nothing against Newcastle and 1 against Wolves. Goals have dried up as well. It's, yeah, well, what a way to go into, the international break. Oh, absolutely, Andy. It's not good, right? I think I've had enough, guys. Been on for quite a while. Bitterly disappointed. As I said, I can accept losing to Arsenal, but not the way we played. The fact that players didn't step up. The fact that, the fact that players didn't step up. The fact that we didn't have that desire. Massively disappointed. Oh, Andy, I've seen the games. You know, we've got Brighton coming up. Then we've got away at Young Boys. We've got Liverpool, United at the end of the month. Next month, I think we've got Liverpool, Spurs, Chelsea away. Wow. Aston Villa. All the top teams. And, you know, if we can come out, and this is how we normally look at it, come out at Christmas within touching distance, then we think, yeah, we'll put the hammer down and we'll do it. But I don't like it. What's happened? We will get our look back. 3 losses this year with deflections. Remember the Champions final, the miss from Lukaku. You need look. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's bringing us back down to earth. You know, we had our luck. Arsenal had their luck today. It is what it is, guys. Hopefully, this won't put too much of a dampener on your weekend and your next couple of weeks without league football. But yeah, you know, don't worry, guys. We'll keep sticking some some videos out for you, some podcasts as well, and Bolt from the Blue. We'll keep doing that as well. But yeah, on a very, very poor display from City, dreadful game, awful watch, horrible watch. It really is the same. Just going to last couple of points. Unlike Man City, first tinker from Pep since 2 seasons ago. And it says no chance we'll be top again at the earliest. Well, I don't mind. I want to be within touching distance, and that's 3 or 4 points. That's touching distance for me. That keeps us in there. But yeah, massively disappointed with the performance today. But hey, we have to bounce back. Guys, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. If you can hit that bell icon, you'll be notified as soon as new videos come out. Give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and we will see you around, Blues.